After being raised by my aunt, life slowly entered a new chapter. School. My early education began when I was around 5 years old. About a 10-minute walk from my aunt's house stood a small preschool. The building was simple: mud walls, a metal sheet roof, and only 2 classrooms. Inside, we sat on wooden benches. Even now, after so many years, I still remember the teacher clearly. His face remains in my memory. He was blind. At that age, I did not fully understand life, but I understood discipline. He was serious, strict, and expected students to learn carefully. Mistakes were not taken lightly. Punishment was common in those days. Sometimes students knelt down or held their ears between their legs. Discipline was simply considered part of education. Still, I enjoyed learning. That small preschool became my first doorway into knowledge. I learned Amharic letters, phonetics, Ethiopian numbers, and Ge'ez, an ancient language that felt mysterious and special to me as a child. Classes usually began around 8 in the morning and ended around noon. But school was not always easy. I was still very young, and some mornings I cried when my aunt took me there. I followed behind her, wanting to return home. Sometimes she disciplined me and brought me back anyway. Perhaps even then, I loved the comfort of home. Even today, during my free time, I still enjoy staying home, something that may have quietly begun in childhood. After learning the basics of reading and writing, my teacher approved me to continue to regular elementary school. I enrolled at Dejazmach Gebre Exiaber Elementary School, the main school serving grades 1 through 8 in the area. Our home stood near the American Adventist Mission Hospital in Gimbi, while the school was located near the road leading toward Nekemte in Addis Ababa. To get there, I crossed the entire town. The walk took nearly 2 hours each way. Yet somehow, as children, we never thought much about hardship. Many children walked together, and what could have felt difficult instead became joyful. We laughed, played, talked, and ran together along the road. Sometimes we even made sounds pretending we were driving cars. At that age, children do not think deeply about struggle. They simply live. Life in Ethiopia followed its own rhythm. During the heavy rainy season, schools often closed for months, much like summer vacation in America, but because of rain. From around June until early September, life slowed as rain shaped daily routines. The days stayed balanced, almost 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of darkness throughout the year. Even time itself felt unique. Ethiopia followed 13 months instead of 12. 12 months carried 30 days each, while the small 13th month, Pagumen, added 5 or 6 extra days. As children, we simply accepted this as normal life. One memory that still makes me smile is learning how to ride a bicycle. My aunt gave me 5 or 10 cents for lunch, usually enough for bread and tea. But sometimes, instead of spending all my money on food, I secretly used part of it to practice riding bicycles. At first, it felt exciting. Then one day, while riding downhill, I lost control. The bicycle flew off the road and crashed into trees. I got hurt badly. Still, like many childhood memories, even painful moments later became stories worth smiling about. By elementary school, Ethiopia's education system followed a curriculum influenced by the British model. English classes began around 4th grade. Before that, nearly everything was taught in Amharic. To be honest, I was not considered a top student. At that age, I did not yet understand the value of education. In the countryside, there were few examples of university graduates or professional careers. I had no real role models showing me where education could lead. Life itself demanded attention. School mattered, but survival mattered too. Fetching water, helping my aunt, selling goods, working around the house. Responsibility came early. Still, I had subjects I enjoyed more than others. I liked mathematics and science. Subjects involving logic and problem-solving felt more natural to me. English, however, felt difficult. One memory from English class still stays with me. My teacher asked me to write the word 3 on the blackboard. Feeling confident, I proudly wrote tree. The classroom quickly became less comfortable. My teacher punished me by striking my hand 10 times with a stick. In those days, strict punishment was common, especially when learning difficult subjects. At the time, it hurt. Today, the memory makes me laugh. School also gave me something important: friendship. I had many friends, especially through soccer. We played constantly and formed teams together. Without realizing it, leadership quietly began growing inside me. Around friends, I often found myself taking responsibility or naturally leading. And slowly, soccer became something bigger. It became part of who I was. I played as a midfielder, a position requiring speed, movement, and awareness. I enjoyed passing defenders, pushing the game forward, and helping the team move together. We had no trainers, no formal sports system, very little equipment. Everything came through practice, observation, and passion. Little by little, I improved. I watched others. I practiced. I pushed myself. And somehow, people began noticing. Teachers recognized me. Students knew me. People around Gimby began knowing me simply as the soccer player. Although we never won trophies, soccer gave me something more valuable: confidence, identity, purpose. At one point in life, I truly believed soccer could become my future. Yet another part of me was quietly growing at the same time: creativity. As a child, I loved building things with my hands, using wire, cardboard, shoe cream containers, and small pieces of glass. I created handmade toy cars. Shoe cream containers became wheels. Glass became windshields. Wire helped shape the body. At that time, toy stores did not exist around us, and children had very few toys. So I created my own. Soon, something interesting happened. Other children liked them. They wanted to play with them. Eventually, I began selling the toy cars to other children. For a child, earning around 50 cents felt like big money. More importantly, creating something with my own hands gave me joy. It made me feel capable in a way I had not felt before. Without realizing it, I had already started learning creativity, problem solving, and even small business. As I grew older, this curiosity continued. Around 7th or 8th grade, I became fascinated with bicycles. In Gimby, many young people rented bicycles, and I became interested in understanding how they worked. My older brother owned a Chinese-made Phoenix bicycle, something very special at the time. Having a bicycle was considered a big deal, and he had one because he was successful in the coffee business. Slowly, I taught myself how to repair bicycles. I learned how to take parts apart, fix problems, and put everything back together again. No one formally taught me. I simply learned through curiosity and practice. Looking back now, I can see something clearly. Even as a child, I loved solving problems with my hands, building toy cars, fixing bicycles, creating solutions, improving things. Deep inside, my dream was not only soccer. I wanted to become a creator. Though I did not yet fully understand the meaning, I already thought that way. I enjoyed building, fixing, imagining, improving. Without realizing it, the creator, inventor, and problem solver inside me had already begun quietly growing. The little boy walking long roads to school was slowly learning survival, discipline, leadership, and creativity. Life was already preparing me. I just did not know it yet. Life continued teaching me lessons I did not yet understand, and the journey was only beginning. See you next week in Chapter 3.